Hi, this is Charisse Kenyon, and this is the Beauty Me podcast, the show that brings you the best stories in beauty. This is a Met Gala 2025 special because I don't think it's an event that should be breezed over. I know a lot of people are saying, can't wait for Cannes, which starts on Tuesday, but no, I want to stay in this moment. It's an annual event that takes place on the first Monday in May at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York. It began as a fundraising event for the Costume Institute in 1948. And when it first started, it was very much a society event, only for the wealthy and well-off. And of course, it was all about raising funds to preserve fashion history. And it remained that way until the 1990s. But then as the worlds of television, music, and fashion became intertwined, it became a much bigger deal. And today, tickets for the Met Gala cost $75,000 each. And even if you can afford a table, which comes in at $350,000, it doesn't mean that you get to invite who you want. That decision will always lie with editor-in-chief of American Vogue, Anna Wintour. The theme of the Costume Institute's Spring 2025 exhibition was announced in October last year as Superfine Tailoring Black Style, but we had to wait until this February to find out what the dress code was, which meant that we had several months to really think about how this theme could be interpreted. In recent years, they've made the theme and the dress code the same thing. So, for instance, in 2015, the theme of the Costume Institute's exhibition was China Through the Looking Glass, and the dress code was the same. But in 2018, the exhibition theme was Heavenly Bodies, Fashion and the Catholic Imagination, but the dress code was Sunday Best, so it was much more loose and easier to interpret. It was also one of my favorite years because Rihanna arrived as the Pope, and of course, there is a new Pope right now. This year's exhibition was largely inspired by guest curator Monica L. Miller's book, Slaves to Fashion, Black Dandyism and the Styling of Black Diasporic Identity. But the dress code was very simple in comparison, tailored for you. This made things a lot easier to interpret, and an easy option was offered in the form of menswear. But I just want to dive into Monica's book a little bit here because it's such a good read. If you love fashion, if you love history, it's so worth reading. But even if you didn't have time to read the book, the title itself really hints at a world of inspiration for us. If we break it down, the title begins with Slaves to Fashion, which is Miller telling us that this is a book that begins with slavery and how fashion became a way for slaves, as well as everybody else, to find a new way of expressing themselves and to show up in the world. Of course, those three words are also a play on the concept of being a slave to fashion, something that even speaks to where the world is today, where the fashion industry is today in 2025, even though the book was published in 2009. Next, we have the word Black Dandyism, which is a huge concept in itself. I think Monica should probably write a follow-up book just on this. In her book, Monica breaks down the first iterations of the Black Dandy and tells us that they were often former slaves or slaves associated with esteemed houses who often dressed in a European fashion. Sometimes it would be the owners of the slaves who liked to dress them up because it would show off their status. But as the book takes us towards the 1920s, Miller begins to discuss a new type of Black dandy who is more self-aware and intentional. She writes that the dandy is a figure with European, African, and American origins. Thank you for being here. Please like this video and make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Thanks so much for being here. I'll see you next time.